Hello everybody, welcome to the city of Tokyo. In this episode we're going to be talking about JESTA, which is the Japan Electronic Systems for Travel Authorization, which is very much, by the way, I started late because there's an ambulance going by here. I guess something happened here. Anyways, JESTA is an American-like ESTA visa entry program for 71 countries that are visa-free that enter into Japan, but starting in 2028, without a JESTA, you will not be allowed to enter into Japan. Now, you can do everything online, from watching my wife do the ESTA, which is the American-based one. It's sometimes, I don't know, like it's valid for a certain amount of period. Once you've registered, if you're coming back and forth between Japan, I don't think you need to register every single time, but you need to be registered with your passport. We'll talk about that. And also the price of the JESTA, not quite decided, but there's been some talk on that as well. So I think in this episode in particular, it's a live stream. The comments are going to be very interesting to see what a lot of you, in particular those who are not American that travel to the US, if JESTA is going to work in Japan and make it better. There's reasons why this is actually a good thing. I think among the issues people have is that it's going to be another fee. The estimate is 4,000 yen, or right now $27 with the exchange rate. I know Japan in their mind is already calculating that tourists have more money, so they're probably going to, and this has been proposed since last year, but actually the big news came this month in May of 2025, just yesterday. The big news was that rather than initiate this program in 2030, they're going to be initiating this program in 2028, which is, it's going to be here a lot quicker than we can expect. It's about 2.5 years away, probably in April of 2028, because that's when the new year usually starts in Japan. Old stuff ends in March and new stuff begins like April 1st. It's just the way things are. And as you can see here, the Ministry of Justice, which is in charge of immigrations, gave a press conference yesterday to the media, Japanese media, about this. I wish I was there. I would have had a bunch of questions as well for this, but basically it's going to cost you more money. Now, I think maybe that this might be a good thing, because there's a couple of issues that I want to talk to you. Let's look at the internet, how they laid this out here. Usually I like to pull stuff in here. Let me pull this photo out and put this one up here. So one issue that you just make sure that your passport is not soon to expire. Just right off the bat, this in particular for anybody who a passport that has less than a year, I'd say you better get that renewed, because my experience was that it's not just this country. Some countries are very strict with this. So if your passport's going to be expiring within a year, get it renewed as soon as possible, and make sure you check on this, because this is something that sneaks up on you. I've heard of stories like, oh, I entered into Japan, but my passport was less than 6 months, so they wouldn't let me in. That happens quite a bit. I can't actually get this. I updated this app and it won't let me pull it in here. Anyways, I pretty much memorized most of the information. JESTA has some positives and negatives. Among the positives is that this program might make the process into Japan a lot smoother. Believe it or not, there are still bottlenecks when you enter in Japan. The line entry can be long. What JESTA does is gets all this done in pre-screening. So before you've actually entered, you have a QR code and you've already gone through the process of immigration. So you just have to go bing and you enter in Japan. After a 14-hour flight, this is the ideal thing. I think that there might be some screening just to check out some stuff. According to the statistics, there are about 75,000 people who overstayed their visas in 2024, which is quite a lot of people when you think about it. And Japan is very strict on that kind of stuff. I think Vietnam, Indonesia, like the countries around here were the most overstays, and most of them were on short-term visas. So it just sort of happens. Some people were on technical visas programs. Some people were spouses of Japanese nationals who just forgot to renew their visas. So, but this JESTA is going to cut down on that, but also make the process getting into Japan a lot smoother, which is a good thing. I think it's a really good thing. I think that the So the way that Japan does this right now is you're not really screened until you enter into Japan. Kind of a problem, especially for security. So that's one of the reasons why it does take a little bit more time upon entry. Now, usually they'll ask me, this is the way it's always been done. You would be screened upon entry, not before you entered. It was the US with ESTA, and I think Europe and the UK also have a program that's very similar. They found a way to pre-screen you, which is particularly good with security and you know, knowing who's going to be entering before they enter gives you more time to prepare for that, or just deny you before you even enter, which saves a lot of trouble on this side. So JESTA pre-screens people, so people like Johnny Somali, for example, I'm just putting it out there, other nuisance streamers that have been logged by the police might be on a database, which can now be shared with JESTA. You can now share the database with countries that they have a collaboration, like for example, Korea, South Korea. So now nuisance streamers that have already been recorded or arrested or even questioned can be put on this list. This is kind of a good thing because it might cut down in particular repeaters. It does not stop you, it does stop all nuisance streamers, but it will have a significant impact on those who come here to cause trouble. And that's been a problem in Japan over the last 2 years. It's been causing stress with the locals, where people like me who is doing this right now in front of the bus terminal, probably getting scrutinized. Not so much recently because it hasn't been in the news. It kind of simmers down a little bit, but it really was in the news. Like most of 2023 and 2024 kept coming up over and over and over as nuisance streamers were here. Now they seem to have all gone to Korea. However, South Korea. However, I think that JESTA is a program where before you get on the plane, you'll be pre-screened and there'll be a database that might recognize your face, might recognize your passport number, and stop you before you even enter. So that's kind of a good thing. Scanned your passport and ID. You also have this 2-finger scan and all this other stuff here. I get that, but I think they're going to be phasing that out. They can do everything with the face now, and they can also do it with your passport number. The pre-screening is really going to make a big difference. So I'm a foreign resident. I'm a resident of Japan. So I don't have to go to the tourist line when I re-enter into Japan. Actually, there's 3 lines: the tourists, international tourists, Japanese citizens, and re-entry. I'm re-entry. And that line for re-entry typically is the shortest line. Last time, Kanai, Leo, and I went to the re-entry line and we beat the Japanese nationals into Japan because the line was short. I thought that was kind of cool. So foreign residents here get a kind of a little bit of a VIP treatment in a way. The line is often a lot shorter. The process is easier than foreign tourists, but I think it's a little bit harder than Japanese nationals, of course, citizens. But if there's no line, you could get in and out really quick, which I thought was cool. The JESTA program is going to simplify everything, meaning you just do everything online. The only downside is that I know that my wife, whenever she has to renew it, she has to remember when to renew it. So you have to make sure it's renewed. You have to make sure that your passport is at least 6 months. This is so critical because a lot of Americans in particular, Australians too, who don't leave or travel internationally very often, sometimes forget this. Europeans kind of know this as a rule because you're traveling between the countries, but it's not something that people remember to do. Like if your passports get expired in, let's say, 2026, I'm already renewing it right now in 2025. I think you can do it up to like a year or a year and a half before, or a year before. Just don't enter a country with less than 6 months. They're really strict about that. They won't let you in, all right? Kanai is Japanese, but this is a live stream, so I'll take some of the questions. That's a good question, though. When we enter into the United States, Kanai and Leo is American, I'm American, my wife is not American. She enters with us, with American citizens, which is a lot faster, all right? So that's a good thing. They keep the families together with American citizens. In Japan, I can't go to the Japanese citizens line. I think it's because they have a special program. It's just easier. Leo is a Japanese citizen, Kanai's a Japanese citizen, but I'm a foreign resident, so they come to my line. Or they go to their line and I'll just go to my line. But 9 times out of 10, my line is shorter than their line, so it sort of makes sense. It's not that much of a difference, to be honest with you. So there's certain benefits to going with it. I'm in front of the Narita bus. I'll show you some of the changes here. There's some changes in the prices and the services, so that might be a good thing. And I'll take some questions from you here. But the first 15 minutes of all these live streams, usually all the relevant information is inside of there, right? For some reason, I can't get the video to come up, so you could thank the update of the app here. I brought in a lot of information. The program, we're not quite sure of all the details. It's just been announced, and it's going to be coming out a lot faster. There's just been, I think Japanese citizens are sort of calling for these kinds of changes, mainly because we don't know who is entering in the country. There's going to be more events that are going to be taking place in Japan. And the biggest thing of them all, I'll just be honest with you, right now, Japan is on course for almost 50 million tourists. The numbers just keep going up, all right? Despite taxes and fees going up, which is not even a lot, Japan's tourists, visitors here, it keeps extremely expanding. It's mine. In April of 2025, this year, the numbers came out. It was almost, what was it, like 4.9 million tourists, like something like that. It was something like either 4 or 5 million tourists between that came in here. Might have been 4 million. So 4 million times 12 is like 48 million, right? Is it 48? 48 million tourists. That's almost 50 million. So if these numbers hold, and in the summer if we break 5 million tourists in 1 month, then we're gonna break 50 million tourists, which is pretty incredible for Japan, which had like 2 million tourists when I came here. When I came to Japan, I think there's like less than 2 million international visitors in 1998. None of my friends ever came to Japan. It was ridiculous. Now, all my friends want to come to Japan, and a lot of you want to come to Japan, which is great. The rapid turnaround, I guess we can give it to the success of, I like to call it I like to say that YouTube played a massive role in this, not NHK, who sometimes takes credit for it. I think it was the YouTubers that did it. I gotta be honest with you. I think that we started something pretty good. High quality videos, stories, a lot of good information, and the images coming from Japan were amazing. And those that did come, it just started to spiral. Social media started to show some of the images, talk about how safe it is, how cheap it is, and now Japan's become that top hot destination. If the exchange rate stays at between 140 and 150 to the US dollar, we're gonna get the 50 million tourists. So they need a program like this. So Japan is seriously starting to change some of the things, including the Japan Rail Pass, including digitalizing everything, including making sure that tourists could use their smartphones for even the Androids for the Suica card, which is, I think, still not possible. But a lot of this is starting to really change, and this is a good thing. The JESTA program is going to be a positive force. But it's kind of weird that they kind of ripped off the US system. I don't know. But I'm really curious to hear what you guys have to say about this. Like, is this going to be a good thing or a bad thing? Have you had problems with ESTA in the US before? Do you think that Japan can come up with a different way to do things? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. All right, let me take a look at now the buses going here. Everything's going to be done by QR code. The one thing that happened while you were away, this used to be 1,000 yen, but now the buses to Narita are 1,500 yen. So it's still $10, right? It's 10 US dollars for over an hour ride. Usually it take an hour and 5 minutes, hour and 10 minutes, depending on the traffic and which terminal you're going to. Now it's $10. Children are half price, and I think if you're a child, even if you're under the age of 3 or 4, if you get a seat, you probably should pay that. A seat is a seat, right? But I don't see any discount for children, but they might have like kids under 2 ride free, or if they're sitting on mommy's lap or something. The buses start around 5:30 in the morning. For buses, they close until 6 a.m. Pay in the bus with cash or transportation card. Making sure that you have a Suica installed, the app installed on your smartphone is probably a good idea. Or if you have a Suica card, let me see if I have mine. I pay with everything with using the Suica card. It's here it's in my pocket. Having that is really, it gets away from the hassle of using cash and going into your pocket and stuff like this. Here's my Suica card. I just dropped it here. So I have a physical card. They're phasing these out, by the way, but you can now get these all over at all the stations now. There's no shortage of the chips anymore. I have my name written on there, which means my phone number is connected to it, and if I accidentally lose it, I'd say like 9 times out of 10, somebody finds it, turns it into the police, and I get it back. And it's happened more than once, because I'm sometimes a little bit clumsy with my card. There's no difference in the cards, by the way. All of these cards are on the same system. So if you're in Tokyo, you're going to get Suica. If you're in Nagoya, you're going to get Manaka or Toika. If you're in Kansai region, you're going to get Ikoka. If you're in Kagoshima, you'll get Sugoka. If you're in Fukuoka, you're going to get Hayakaken or Nimoka, depending on if it's like the Metro or JR. And this is my favorite. If you're in Hokkaido, you're going to get Kitaka, which is like north. Kita means north. But it's got the flying squirrel on there, which is just so cool. So if you're in Sapporo, I always get that one, right? There are advantages not to, but the main advantage to get the card regional is because this is 500 yen, or about $3.50. When you leave Japan, you can't get your money back for a Sapporo card in Tokyo because you have to take it back to Sapporo. So if you have any intentions of returning the card, make sure you get it from the port of entry, not Hokkaido. But it's $3.50, and people like to keep these things. It's probably going to be worth something when they phase them out, like a collector's item. But I have one of all of these, and Kitaka with the flying squirrel is my favorite. There you go. When it comes to these Narita buses here, make sure you remember what terminal you're going to. They'll put a ticket onto your bag and make sure, because when you get out, they'll take the bags out from that terminal. So make sure you know if you're on terminal 3, 2, or 1. I think 3 is the first one that they stop out. That's the one for mostly domestic and budget airlines. Terminal 1 is JAL, and terminal 2 might be ANA. There's a Haneda bus as well on the other side. There's a Haneda bus, I think, next there, but most people take the monorail, and it's not that much to take a taxi. I'd say from here it's about, I don't know, $50 to take a taxi. All right, there's a guy who passed out there, so I don't want to show him. Let's give him some privacy here. All right, now I'm going to take some of your questions. I'm happy to do that. Travel in Japan is always changing a little bit, but I'm not making as many of these videos like Japan has changed. If I see that in the title of a YouTube video, typically, I just like click away. Japan doesn't change that much that you need to stay on top of information like every single week. But I think maybe every couple of months or a month before your trip, it's good to check in to see if there's any changes or any changes on the horizon. They don't typically do something suddenly unless there's some sort of a emergency or some sort of event happened that you would hear about on the news. There's not going to be any major changes, and the airlines are pretty good at sending notifications now if you're registered. When you buy an e-ticket, you can get updates from the airline, which would make sure that you have all the proper documentation. But the biggest one I think I could tell you is make sure your passport is at least 6 months. I would say 9 months, but if you're getting close to a year, renew it as soon as you possibly can. Yeah, Ikoka and Suica apparently are both on the Androids now. That's good news. When are they phasing out the physical IC cards? I would say by 2030 they're gone, but you're probably going to start seeing them phased out in the next couple of years. It's just that everyone has a smartphone, and there's advantages to it. I hate the smartphone. I hate the name smartphone, right? Whoever came up with the name smartphone I think they should be prosecuted by the International Court or something. It just made us dumb. The phone is smarter than, I just hate the name. It's a pocket computer. JESTA does sound like a joker. Goober, I'm with you there. I don't think they thought about it because they don't think about English when they come up with the names. They just added Japan to electronic travel assistance. There goes the ambulance. I can't get video to queue up on here, so I got to update the app again. That's kind of a shame. Walter L. Walters, you've been a traveler for 2 months. Thank you. By the way, Korea has K ETA And Europe has something else as well, and the UK has their own system. But the fees for it are going to be, I'm guessing 4,000 yen seems about right. I think that's about right. It'll be under 5,000 yen. 4,000 yen seems about right, $27 for it. But I mean, if you can get to your hotel faster, you know, there's give and take there. Some of the issues, it could be like mistyped stuff. If you mistype your name, that could be an issue on entry. So you just have to make sure with these online forms you don't mistype. Make sure I always say, if it says all caps, do all caps, but if it doesn't, write it the way it's shown on your passport. All right? Don't use all caps if it's not like all caps in your passport. So do it the way it shows in the, some countries, like, I'm just gonna say Russia, and I've traveled through Russia before, like 25 years ago. Any discrepancy, even something like that, if you used blue pen instead of black pen, it was a reason to not give you entry. I did all that homework. I used black pen. I used, you know, the way that they wanted me to write stuff. I made sure I had translations of it. They could not deny me. I had paperwork for paperwork. And when I got into Russia, no question, they, you know, do you have this, da, 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 da. I was able to get through Russia just fine. I did the Trans-Mongolian Railroad from Beijing to Moscow. And leaving Russia was also a thing, so I had to make sure I have the paperwork to get into Belarus and through there on the train, and eventually got to Warsaw, which was a relief. But back then, Russia was, you know, it was a different Russia than it is today. But you have to have all the paperwork. You have to do your homework. You have to make sure the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. And with online forms, you have to make sure you don't do any typos. And print it out. I'm telling you right now, you can do screenshots, but your battery might die, the Wi-Fi might not connect, there could be issues, your phone could be deleted, who the heck knows? Print everything out, including your e-ticket, and always have a physical copy for travel. I'm telling you right now, and Japan is a country very much in love with paper. Common Rider Rogues here. The JESTA system sounds good to have. I think things easier to enter Japan for my yearly business trip. Yeah, I think it'll make things a little easier. Singapore does the same thing. I think it's more of an international standard, right? And the fact that they're using the US system is no surprise to me. They seem to do that for a lot of things. And there's just so much business going back and forth between the US and Japan. I think that it just seems to make a lot of sense. And with the tariff talks going on, I think that there's now a desire with Japan to become more symmetrical with the US, so that it just works seamlessly between the two countries. And it's a good thing for me because I'm an American citizen, you know. I'm proud of my American citizenship. Hi John, appreciate all that you do. Do you think with JESTA coming in 2028, the prices might reflect the change in how Japan allows people to come to Japan? Cheaper hotels, but more expensive foods. Hotels are always going to be a supply and demand thing. If the supply if there's more supply than there's the demand, the prices are going to go down. If the demand is higher and the supply is low, the prices are going to go up. That's why high season, the prices are going to go up, and it's a supply and demand thing. Right now, they're building a ton of hotels, so the prices for hotels could go down. I have to be honest with you, more budget hotels are in the works right now. But capsule hotels and cheap Japanese options are going down. More expensive hotels are going up at the current time, but the budget options always come. So I would expect that the prices for hotels might even start to come down a little bit as new budget options come. And I think that the regulations for Airbnb and Minpaku is going to change eventually. I don't think they're going to keep it as strict as it is, because I know that the hotel associations are really fighting. The lobby was strong, but these always get worn down, and Airbnb, which is something you can't do 12 months out of the year. But in some towns, the only option is Airbnb, and they want to beef up tourists, so a lot of the local areas are now saying, look, Airbnb is a solution for our town. However, some towns like Nishio make it really easy for locals to get ryokan licenses, which allow them to operate their Minpaku or Airbnb 12 months out of the year. So there's some give and take there, but I would expect that the regulations for registering an Airbnb and year-round to get easier, in particular out in the rural areas. It's a great question. I think other things are going to get more expensive. Japan has been, especially Japanese entrepreneurs have been reading the complaints that you guys have about Japan. One of them is that there's not a lot of stuff in English. There's not stuff that you're looking for, like geisha tours, like samurai stuff, more Japanese experiences, like cheesy tourist trap stuff that I don't like, but you like. And there's a demand for that. So they've come up with these tourist trap stuff. Tourist traps have been increasing in Tokyo at a record rate. The problem with that is prices for the tourist stuff goes up. A stick of Wagyu beef is like more expensive than getting a steak at a restaurant, but that's what tourists want. And they're providing a service. It's very easy, everything's in English. It's a win-win maybe for a tourist that doesn't, you guys know better. I'm not saying it's you guys, but there's a lot of bus tour people, that can't speak Japanese, don't know much about it. They saw an Instagram post, they always wanted to come here. They want to try Wagyu. There's a stick there. It's $100. They got $100. They pay. Yeah, I don't have any problem with that. It's not something that I would do. I'm not gonna say don't go to tourist traps. There's people who that's what they're looking for. It's an experience. They're looking for an experience. It's more exciting. Sometimes the local way, the things that the locals do is not that fun for international tourists. You probably don't understand what's going on. There's less English or foreign language support. Japanese tend to like to string things out so they're too long. Just go to a Japanese wedding. Japanese weddings have so many speeches. It is the most boring event. If somebody invites me to a Japanese wedding, I probably won't go. It depends how close we are. But if we're not that close, I probably will not go. It's just so, everyone has a speech and it's too long. But that's what Japan does, that's how things work here. So if you have a Japanese attraction, usually it's filled with a lot of stuff that you probably don't need, right? Just get to the meat of the stuff. Don't waste my time. I'm here only for 2 weeks. I don't need to spend an entire day listening to the tour guide giving me stuff on information that I don't need. Japanese like that stuff. That's why like a VHS, remember back in the day, or a rice cooker, these products had 1,000 buttons on it. You only used 1% of that, but the Japanese probably used 50% of that. So there's a difference in culture, and you probably pay for that, right? So Walter, that's a great question. I appreciate it. Erica Goldberg's here. Hey, any hidden gems, must-sees you can share for my trip to Hokkaido and Tohoku? I probably will make another episode on that, but since you are here, too many. I'm going up to, you know what? I'll address this when I go to Tohoku next week, because I'm going to Yamagata next week. So maybe while I'm in the car or something, I'll talk about maybe 5 or 6 hidden attractions for you, and do a live stream on this, because I think it's worthy of that. I'll be in Yamagata for 24 hours making an episode. I won't tell you yet, but yeah, I'll always be going up to Tohoku. So yeah, give me a few days on that, Erica, and I'll give you some more information if I do it now. Tokyo Paul's here. Hey, I do think these hidden gems are starting to really well up. Just yesterday, or was it last weekend, the Soma Noma Oi, which is in Fukushima, it's the samurai horse racing event. It's intense, dudes and dudettes. They moved it from the end of July to now because it's cooler and it's good for the horses. It's a win-win. So that took place, and the reports were that there were more tourists than there were the years past, which is a good thing. That means that the video I made on this worked. All right, that video got more viewers than anything else that they've done, except for this something on a samurai girl video. That you have samurai and girl in there. It's interesting. She's cute, but a lot of tourists went up to see the Soma Noma Oi this last year, and I'm really happy to have been able to help to promote them. That's still a hidden gem, though. It's an authentic event that they've been holding for centuries. All right, we're like, it's not fake. All right, it's not done for tourists. They would do it if there was nobody there. They did it in World War II when the government said don't do it, but they're like, yeah, we're gonna do it anyway. So they did it. Like with air raid sirens going off, those samurai, or the descendants of the samurai, still held their Soma no Maoi up there. They're like, screw it, we're gonna do something. They're hardcore up in Tohoku, man. The traditions and culture up there does not stop for tourism or disease or pandemics or war. It has to go on. Has to go on. Rain, snow, sleet, whatever. Sumo bullfighting. There's lots of stuff. The Oki Islands still has a kind of bullfighting there, and then I think they eat the wagyu afterwards. I don't know. I just made that up. But I've been trying to cover that one for a long time, but it's been hard to get access. My friend Dean Newcomb, he's somewhat involved with that, so we'll see how it goes. There's a lot of hidden attractions that you don't know about. I try to show you on this channel here and the main channel, so make sure you're subscribed to the other one. The main channel is going to pass this channel in subscribers soon, which is pretty awesome. It's been a long time coming. I think it'll probably happen next month in June. I got a feeling that that'll be the month. All right, everybody. I hope you have any. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Travel to Japan is always going to change. I'm not going to do Japan travel updates anymore. You don't need to do that to watch that kind of content. It doesn't change that much. But JESTA is still 2.5 years away. 2 years at least. 2.5 years. And I'll let you know as we get closer to this, as well as any big changes that will affect your travel here. But the little micro stuff, not worth worrying about. Make sure if you're bringing in any prescription medication, do check in that. Maybe 5 times out of 10 they don't check. A lot of people get through, but I made a video on that. Make sure if you're bringing in prescription drugs, a lot of stuff is banned in Japan, even for personal use. You might be screened and asked about it. It doesn't take a lot to get the proper documentations, and it gives you peace of mind when you enter. Nagoya is the strictest entry, I heard, but Kansai might be the loosest, but they're all pretty strict. Japan follows by the book, all right? Doesn't hurt to call and send an email on your prescription medications. You have something for the heart or psychotics, I'm not sure what it's called, any kind of drugs for disabilities maybe that you need to take that might have an ingredient that's banned here. It's always good to have the proper documentation. I'm telling you, Japan, it just makes it easier. It'll save you a lot of hardship. But in general, for personal use, it's fine. But if it's a banned ingredient, it's good to have the paperwork. Craig Porter, thank you. I appreciate it. Should you bring vitamins? That's up to you. I take zinc and vitamin D3, but you can get that here as well. You can get it. You can get anything ordered on Amazon.co.jp. I'm not promoting them. Well, I sort of am. And have it sent to your hotel, and it'll arrive within 24 hours. So if there's something you can't find, you can order it online. You might have to set up an account, order with your credit card, send it to the hotel. Outside of Tokyo, it might take 2 or 3 days, depending. In Tokyo, I've had it show up in 12 hours, where I ordered it before I go to bed, and it came at 9 in the morning because it shipped through the night from a warehouse that was close by. So you can get vitamins, you can get an umbrella, you can get raincoat or rain gear, you can get like a new suitcase. They send it right to your hotel. So I'd consider doing a cruise. I'm considering all sorts of different ways to see Japan. But I gotta say something. I don't have the picture here. Let me see if I can pull it up here. I'm really, I could feel a change in the force. So my friend here in our wonderful Brandania, here's a picture from yesterday. She left Japan last night. It's heartbreaking. We went out and we had a couple of burgers. I went to the Okinawa store. And we miss Brandy very much. She's I guess extended Hawaiian family. We got so many Hawaiian family. I can't wait to come to Hawaii and see you guys. A lot of aunts and uncles in Hawaii. But she was here and she returned home. She's getting her nails done. We miss her very much. I got a chance to see her several times while she was here. Went to Tokyo Disneyland as well, which is great. Disney Sea. So that was a really a fun event. Disney Sea has changed a little bit too. You see there's a picture from Disney Sea right there. Boom. There's the volcano in the background. So we miss Brandy. Thanks for coming and seeing us, staying nearby. Made it easier for us to go out and get some dinner and lunch and stuff like that. But We do miss you, and for all of you who are visiting here, I can't say hi. I know a lot of you want to take us out to dinner, and I appreciate that. I don't drink alcohol, like maybe once a month now, or if I'm working. Just keep that in mind. If you're bringing me gifts, I don't really eat sugar either. If you're bringing me gifts, I don't eat a lot of sugar. So maybe bring small sugar stuff if you do it. I usually give it to Kanai or Leo. But I appreciate it very much if you come here with gifts. And the kindness of our audience is maybe the kindness in all of YouTube here. It's incredible. I walk around the town, I get people saying hi to me. I love giving big hugs, handshakes. I love to hear your experiences. People share their photos with me, which is great, on where they've been. I learned so much from you guys. So I want to say thank you to that. And having Brandy come here, I was living through her and her experiences, and I learned so much from Brandy. She inspires me. Maybe I inspired her, but she inspires me, especially the last 3 weeks when she was here, on stuff that she found to go and do. It was stuff I didn't even think about, like fireflies and certain hotels and new areas. It's amazing how Japan changes. I can't keep up with it all. So sharing that is really awesome. So our Patreon supporters and everybody, the people on Patreon really just feel like a family, and for everybody on Instagram and wherever, it's always cool to see you guys come up and say hi. I appreciate it. All right, everybody, take care. I'll see you in another live stream probably tomorrow, and then in Yamagata real soon. But I had to go get some lunch and send out the daimyo packages today. Take care, everybody. See ya. There you go. JESTA coming in 2028. That's sort of a big deal. And the price for the bus here has changed. It's now $10 instead of 1,500 yen instead of 1,000 yen, which makes sense. They're not going to lose money, which means this bus is going to be around. The buses leave every 15 minutes, I believe. So Tokyo Station may be the best place to get a bus. Mata ne.